Hi everybody and welcome to this episode of our Dungeon Boss Hero Spotlight and Epic Review. Today we are taking a look at the new epic for Ekko, as well as his recent changes to some of his character profile. So we're going to do a quick one today. We're going to hopefully not go too long. I don't have a ton to say about Ekko, so without further ado, let's just jump right in and take a look at him. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I did just get the epic for us so that we can see what the stats are going to look like. But before we get into the epic, let's first look at a hero spotlight aspect and just see how things have changed with Ekko. Now, when they released, when I first saw the little tooltip that said, here's Ekko's epic, my thought was, this is going to play right into the upcoming guild boss invasion, which a lot of us have been very, very high of the opinion that this is going to heavily favor undead heroes. Ekko's always been an undead hero. Until now, if you look at his type, he is no longer an undead hero. So kind of threw that out the window. I thought this would have been a great way to play up that aspect and really have a good way to showcase Ekko and have a good reason for bringing his epic out, just so that he could be used for this event. But that does not seem to be the case, because he has switched over to a spirit, so he is now more like Shade than he is like any of the other undead, and he really didn't fit the mold of an undead in the first place. Alright, so with that said, his epic, just looking at it, is much cooler than just the basic spirit, so he looks pretty decent. He's got some spiky hands, and I like the little head tails that come off of him instead of just a square head. So it makes him look a little bit cooler than what it did. But anyways, start off with his stats here. So first off, he is now ethereal. So he takes less damage from physical attacks, which is basically similar to armored. But they added this extra piece in here. Health does not drop below 1 on the first turn. This here screams to me that this is a PvP mechanic. So whoever was the driving force behind this change wants us to use Ekko in PvP for some reason. I tested this out in PvE. This only works for the first room, so after that the first turn is considered done. It does not do any type of a reset like plant growth does with Lily. I also tested if Ekko dies and you revive him, that does not start over as turn 1 either. So that means that as far as this turn 1, there must be some sort of an internal counter that's used to determine if there is turn number 1. But honestly, we're not going to be using Ekko for PvE that much. The only teams right now that use Ekko are the team that you're using to get Babel Mountain and to actually get his epic, which is actually probably the only team that you'd use with Ekko in the first place, and that is an energy-based team, usually with Ekko and Indigo, and then your 2 extra people of choice. Usually it's Cobalt. But other than that, I don't see any reason to use him in PvE for the most part. Will of the Wisp is another, it's basically an upgraded thing here. Immune to Spirit, Lightning, and Light attacks. Light allies start with extra energy. This is going to be important for later, but we're not going to focus on it too much right now. And then lastly, the Energy Vault. We've always had this. Most of you newer players have never had to use this. Way back in the day when Bolvis was awesome, Bolvis used to drop people's energy down, and Ekko was your saving grace to actually be able to do some abilities in the first round. So this has largely been forgotten about. It's not really anything that you need to worry about at this point. His abilities. Energize. This here is going to be the main reason why we're using him. Electrical Storm, just random enemies. It's had its cost lowered down a little bit, makes it a little bit more useful. And then his last one, Intensify Shock, was switched to Spectral Blast, which is basically the same thing. It still does 3 times to shocked enemies. I don't anticipate this being highly used, but if you have a very, very good defensive Ekko, it might get used in PvP at some point. So, looking over his epic. So his epic, first and foremost, let's look at the traits, or the skills, or not the skills, the stats. He's going to end up getting 30% defense, 20% health, and 20% skill, which largely means that he's going to be a support hero, which I will believe that through and through. Defense, health, and skill, he's going to be a good one to increase. The skill is likely going to play a huge role in this here in terms of its extra crit. That 57% to me looks like it's a rather odd number. My guess is my skill probably does impact that a little bit. So keep that in mind. That 50% chance shock is likely static, but I don't know without putting runes on him. But he's going to be a support character. He's not going to do a ton of damage. He's not going to be around to kill people, with the exception of his, what's it called now? Spectral Blast. Spectral Blast will hurt some people. The thing is, though, there's going to be a lot of people that have Shade teams. I'm feeling like there's not going to be a lot of shocked enemies out there, so I'm not putting a lot of stock in this one. And to be honest, I am not putting Ekko on my PvP defense. I don't think he's anywhere close to good enough where he's going to be viable out there. So yeah, he won't be able to get killed in the first turn, but if the entire team is dead, it won't matter anyways. So I don't see him as a PvP defense contender. I will focus on PvP offense, though, to do some demonstrations, though. In addition to those basic stat upgrades, his effect is going to be a chance to do a ranged lightning attack for twice the damage. It's going to shock and steal 2 energy from the target. At first glance, this is incredibly underwhelming. So this is no better or worse than any of the low-tiered epics right now. He's not going to find your way onto any auto-run teams, and he's not going to be a high priority in terms of the stat boost either in most cases. So in terms of epic, he's going to still be very, very low on the totem pole. That extra energy is certainly going to be nice, but any team that's running epic is likely already going to have indigo on it already. Energy is not going to be an issue, in my opinion. If you're very, very, very low level, maybe it'd be a little bit more viable, where you could use an Ekko team. But the thing is, if you're very, very low level, you're not going to get the epic anyways, so it's a moot point. So once you get to the point where you're level 50 and getting the epic, I think Ekko's long since forgotten about at that point. So your focus will be more so on PvP. So that's actually what we're going to look at right now. There's not really anything to talk about PvE. Like I said, there's really only one team. My team for him is going to be Indigo, and then Ekko, then Cobalt, and then Dagrand. That team will mow through pretty much everything, pretty much anything that stands, as long as they're not Spirit or Darkness immune. Cobalt kills everything. So let's talk about PvP. Obviously, with this stat here, does not drop below 1 on the first turn. They purposely put this in here, obviously, for PvP. So the trick is, how are we going to use Ekko in PvP? We've already determined that he's not a damage dealer. So if he's not a damage dealer, he's a support hero. What can he do as far as support? Energize. +2 energy, give electric skin, and it increases crit chance. Now please bear in mind, Energize, in my opinion, it pales in comparison to Goblin Dance Party. Pales in comparison. Goblin Dance Party, 65% attack. That's huge. Crit chance, most of us have pretty good crit chance already. So that plus 65% attack from Goblin Dance Party is amazing. And that already suggests to me that in order for Ekko to be of more use, that that ability would need to give more energy. So the fact that it gives 2 energy is certainly important. Don't forget, though, we also have this as well. Light allies start with extra energy. That's going to come into play as well. So let's go ahead and run ourselves a dungeon to start with here, or a PvP. I'm only going to do 1 to start with, and then I'll wrap up my final closing arguments here. There's one particular thing that I wanted to try with Ekko. So I'm going to pick one that doesn't have a first round taunter and somebody that's not going to kill me. Actually, no, I'm not going to get killed anyways. So what we're going to do, let's just pick this one. 4,400 rune power, that should be fine. here's what I want to do. So my thought behind this was the whole point that they did this to Ekko was so that we would use him in PvP, so we would use that Energize. The Energize is great for the extra crit, but there's not a ton of extra energy on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how can I maximize my energy? So we're going to go Indigo, we're going to go Ekko, we're going to go Dagrund, and you might see where this is going. And then, in order to save my team and decimate their team, we whip out my good old buddy Furno here. The purpose of this is, with both Ekko and Dagrund, we get +5 energy there. We only need 1 hit from Indigo. If we get a crit from Indigo, then Furno gets his AoE on his first attack. That's a big deal for us. So that is my goal here, as long as Indigo survives. So now, if we go and try to attack, I don't know who, I would probably want to attack Kira here, but I know I get the elemental advantage versus Koros, but the thing is, if I silence Koros, he's not going to heal, Furno, and he might actually do damage if he does a basic attack, so I don't want to do that, even though he's got attack down. Actually, no. With attack down, I should be... Nah, let's not. Let's go for Kira instead, just to be safe. So... we didn't get our crit. Okay, so that's incredibly sad, because my entire raid here was predicated on the fact that Indigo is going to crit, and then I was going to open up... Alright. So note to self, Koros purges that trait. So it is not quite the same as other things. So I guess that ethereal is a buff. So you're seeing this the first time as I am. Alright, so Koros purges that and kills him. I guess that happened here. The goal was ultimately to use Indigo and Ekko to get this choking smoke, which does a shit ton of damage. In our case here, though, we're pretty much screwed, so I'll see it out just for the sake of seeing it out, but I think this is a loss, to be honest. There goes everybody. Weird that Hopper didn't do his stomp right away. Alright, this will be it then. Alright, so that was my thought as far as PvP goes, in terms of using Ekko. Obviously, Ekko, not good against Koros teams. Stay away there, definitely. So where does that bring us in terms of our review then? When we look at this epic review, is it going to be game-changing? I think it's more so of just, it's sort of there. Like I said, Ekko's not going to be on any of your auto-run teams, so he's already not a big deal there. If that energy regeneration would have been for the entire team, it would be good for people that are running manual dungeons, but that is not the case, at least not from what I've seen. So unfortunately, it fails there as well. PvP aspect, the epic has nothing to do with it other than give him a little bit of extra survivability. But if we looked at his stats, I think his stats are largely underwhelming in the first place. He's got actually a pretty decent attack for a little spirit guy. Defense, moderate. Health is moderate. Nothing that's going to make him any better than anybody else in PvP, in my opinion. This is his only saving grace. My guess is you need to determine how you want to use this. Sorry, this is going to be his saving grace. Figure out how you want to use this and what you're actually going to do. This here is obviously good as well if you're going to bring light heroes such as Black Diamond or Kira, or even Zen. So what I will do for you at the end of this video here, I will put a list of all compatible heroes and how you can use this skill here along with Energize. So I'll list everybody out so you can say, if I were to use Energize in that first turn, who's actually going to benefit from it. And I'll give you the full breakdown of who benefits from that, as well as the added energy for light heroes. With that said, his epic review, very underwhelming in my opinion. His usefulness in PvP has nothing to do with his epic, so as far as Hero Spotlight, he may find his way into PvP at lower levels. Higher level, I think he gets his ass whipped 5 ways to Sunday, so no big deal there. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below, and we will see you around for the next one. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.